welcome to Little Decisions. I'm your host for this crazy audio roller coaster, Victoria Cooper. I know I say this every time, but I really mean it this time. I'm so excited you're here today, because that means at least one person is listening, and one person can make a huge difference when it comes to kindness. One person can also make a big difference by rating and reviewing this podcast, but more on that later. Did you know that kindness spreads exponentially? Small, random acts of kindness can build something bigger and better than ourselves. And all we have to do is try our best and assume everyone around us is doing their best as well. This is why today's episode is called Assume the Best. What do I mean by the best? Stay tuned to find out. First up, some light housekeeping. Today's episode will include more music and sound effects, and I genuinely believe these are going to make a huge difference in how much you enjoy this show. I'm excited for these changes since it brings us closer to the vision I have in my head of this podcast. Making a quality product is hard some days for me since it's a one-woman show. I love the freedom found in being a one-stop shop and the creativity, but I still need a certain amount of time in the day, in any given day, really, to get there. And while I would say today's episode is my best yet, all the others were my best versions then too. Thank you so much for your patience as I spend each and every day learning at least one new thing so that I can bring you a better quality podcast. Over at littledecisionspodcast.com, there's another blog post up. It's titled Rabbit Hole. It has an Alice in Wonderland theme to it for sure. Go on over and read it there when you get a moment. And more blog posts are coming from me, I promise. But if you would like to write for the Little Decisions podcast yourself, please reach out through the website or email me directly at littledecisionspodcast@gmail.com. On YouTube, War Room Diaries is about a teenager in episodes. It's a little moody, always hungry, and sometimes even apathetic. No, it's not. That's not me. Instead, War Room Diaries is where I try to communicate the behind-the-scenes process of building a multi-platform podcast about kindness in video form. Okay, that's my official version. Really, this is where I laugh and make funny faces at the camera. It's pretty entertaining. With my little ones back in school now, I have more time to dedicate to this podcast. As such, interviews will begin coming out every Thursday, right alongside the episode for that week. You can listen to these two recordings in whatever order you like, since they are independent of each other. And last, but certainly not least, can you do me a favor, a small kindness? Can you tell 3 people about this podcast this week? Ratings and reviews, especially on iTunes, are incredibly helpful. I'll take those too. But nothing is more valuable than a word of mouth recommendation. I appreciate your kindness. This new segment, Metaphorically, is a more poetic way of looking at today's topic. I hope you enjoy. Assume the best. Assuming the best means believing people are doing the best they can. Assuming the best means forgiving, offering grace. Assuming the best is when we judge people based on the whole of their efforts and not the worst of them. Assuming the best is the tiniest shift in perspective. It's extending grace to everyone around you, including yourself. Assuming the best can be scary. I know the fear found in assuming. It's there for you and for me. If you're paying attention, the adventure of kindness is all around you, and you can see that people are really trying. People at their best is messy because they're real. Listen to other stories of kindness, search for it, and you will see that everyone really is trying their best to be their best. The best changes every day, sometimes in every way. I know this feels risky, and you may think I want something from you, but I only want the best for you. We are all being misunderstood at any given moment. But instead of taking these things personal, we can be kind and make them personal. Making the decision to assume the best isn't naive or silly. It's courageous and generous. It's kindness at its core. Up next, quotes. This week's quotes edition is special though. These are song quotes. Now, before you go freaking out, I'm not going to sing them. Don't worry. But I have 5 or 6 quotes that I want you to enjoy, and these songs have the word best in them. Usually in the title, definitely in the lyric. Here we go. Number 1, You're the Best by Joe Esposito, 1984. Quote, You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Number 2, Best of My Love by the Eagles, 1974. Quote, Oh, you got the best of my love. Whoa, whoa, you got the best of my love. Whoa, whoa, you got the best of my love. Number 3, Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me by Gladys Knight and the Pips, 1973. Quote, If anyone should ever write my life story, for whatever reason there might be, oh, you'll be there between each line of pain and glory, 'cause you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Ah, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Number 4, Hit Me With Your Best Shot by Pat Benatar, 1980. Quote, Hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot? Hit me with your best shot. Fire away. And number 5, My Best Friend's Girl by the Cars, 1978. She's my best friend's girl. She's my best friend's girl. But she used to be mine. And that's this week's quotes. The Marigold Market is a gathering place where people come to do more than just shop. They come to be part of a community. Special connections are built at Pittard Park. Hellos and goodbyes happen there, and so much more. For this next segment, Market Diaries, I'm going to share with you some previously unreleased conversations. This is going to be a deeper exploration of the market to try and show what makes it so special. Let's have a listen.
How old are they?
They are 6 and 9.
Oh,
Girls, do you want to come introduce yourself?
I'm a customer.
Oh, you're a customer?
Yeah.
Oh, being silly.
The market is a place to learn and grow, especially for my young daughters. They're becoming budding entrepreneurs, learning marketing skills like haggling.
I mean, I really like this, but this is $2.
Yeah. I'll give it to you for $1.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, me and Joe love that. Mama, is this your youngest?
Well, no, that's $5. But for you, I'll make it $1.
Marigold Market is also a place to ask and answer deeper life questions, along with the question of the week, like,
Are you a kind person?
I think I am.
Good.
I'm a nurse practitioner.
You are very kind.
I'm pretty kind.
Are you a kind person? Yes or no?
Yes. Why?
good.
Because God said so. She's the kindest person I know.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's so sweet. Well, that's good. Where?
There's a pineapple place.
Yeah, she's a pineapple bag. Our logo has pineapple, so she's very excited about your bag.
I need
Kindest person you know, and she likes pineapples. That's no coincidence.
in case you missed that last bit, a mother was explaining to me that her daughter was the kindest person she knew, and the daughter also had a pineapple purse. It was very serendipitous. I enjoyed talking about kindness, connection, and community with fellow Athenians and Wintervillians. It's also an opportunity for me to share parts of my story, the tragic and the terrific.
I feel like you can be grateful in even the most difficult situations, so I talk a little bit about that. Yeah. Like when I had to write my mom's eulogy, I had to find a space. Yep, I had to do my dad's too. Yeah. I've lost both of them.
Some market goers just aren't in the mood to talk, though.
Are you kind?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Are you positive?
No.
And sometimes the market is a place to say goodbye. You heard me mention a few weeks ago that at the end of the market there were bagpipes playing. I found out from one of the attendees that it was for a funeral. Here's what they sounded like. For today's local calendar segment, I wanted to start big. It's the beginning of August, so let's look at the whole month first. The second week in August is National Bargain Hunting Week. That may explain why all the local consignment sales have started again. Happy bargain hunting! The last week of this month is Be Kind to Humankind Week. This will be August 25th through the 31st. I'll remind us of this week as it gets closer, but each day has a themed act of kindness. Things like Motorist Consideration Monday, Thoughtful Thursday, and Speak Nice Words Saturday. That's going to be a fun celebration, I think. Coming back to Athens and Winterville for some local events and news, the Winterville Center for Community and Culture has reopened and new classes are coming in August. I'm personally excited about dot painting myself. Southern Fest Rock Jam at Southern Brewing Company will be Saturday, August 14th. And Twilight will be downtown August 20th and 21st. Georgia's longest running brew fest, the Classic City Brew Fest, will be Saturday, August 28th. Those are a lot of events going on in Athens and Winterville. Chandler Park is due to be finished in September and it's coming along nicely. You can see some recent pictures with close-ups from my website at littledecisionspodcast.com. Up next, do you remember? Do you remember Pez dispensers? I know these are around today still, but there are some interesting facts about Pez dispensers that I wanted to share that you might not already know. First of all, Pez was created in 1927 as a minty alternative to smoking cigarettes. The first Pez dispenser didn't arrive until 1948. Before that, they were put in little metal tins. Popeye was the first licensed dispenser, and Mickey Mouse was a close second. By the 1970s and 80s, Pez was becoming a multi-generational pop culture icon all on its own. The first Pez dispenser collectors convention was held in 1991 in Ohio. And in 2011, the Pez Visitor Center opened in Orange, Connecticut. Pez is known as the pioneer of interactive candy, which makes sense if you know how to actually load a Pez dispenser. Yes, apparently there's a specific way to load a Pez dispenser, and it isn't the way you think. Take a look at the Little Decisions YouTube channel to see exactly how you're supposed to load a Pez dispenser. It's come to my attention that I don't share as many personal stories as I could. That's not me trying to hide who I am. I think that's just me not believing I'm a kind enough person to share my stories. But I am. So I'm going to start sharing more. I'm going to start with one from a while ago. This was when I was working at the International House of Pancakes as a server. This was in about 2000. And a nurse came in on a very busy Friday night and ended up tipping me $50. Now, this act of kindness happens to have money, but hopefully most of my stories won't. Now, the reason this was so monumental is I had worked a double that day because I had to make a certain amount of money to pay a bill that was due the next day. I had to pay it or I couldn't get to work. It was my car insurance. And sure enough, I was only short $50. That was a powerful experience on me, and I've done that several times since to other servers when I felt called to. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that. I know that that's expensive. But I'm asking you to find ways to be kind. What's your kindness story? For this episode's question of the week, I wanted to take the time to explain how I picked the questions in the first place. The questions are often the very first part of the episode I write, and they set the tone for much of what follows. Let's look at the first question this week. True or false? Everyone is doing the best they can most of the time. Everyone is doing the best they can most of the time. I find that when I believe everyone is doing the best they can in any given moment, I'm a great deal more patient and kind. We all have burdens to spare, even those who have it easier than most. And I know I've been caught at a bad time and behaved like a fool. It was extended grace. So who am I to not do the same? That isn't paying it forward. That's paying attention. That's all most people are asking for. A little attention. I want to emphasize the most of the time in this question because we have all had moments where we've actively decided to be less than our best. That's okay. That's being human. I like to think we're called humankind because at our core, we're all just that, both beautifully human and naturally kind. Question 2, true or false? It's never a good idea to assume anything. It's never a good idea to assume anything. I wanted this question to help frame the first. I also believe which answer you pick, in general, says if you're a glass half full or half empty type of person. Because I think these questions are going after the same answer. Question 3, true or false? Assuming the best in everyone is naive. Assuming the best in everyone is naive. This was the nail in the coffin in the pessimist versus optimist debate, and again, I think they are closely related. If you believe in the good in everyone, you are very likely an optimist, or a really confused pessimist. Question 3 validates question 2, and exposes mindsets. I also know some people don't like assuming anything, and that's fair. However, I believe assuming someone is doing the best they can is a safe assumption. What real harm can come of it? To be clear, I'm not saying blindly trust everyone around you. I'm saying that maybe the person who cut you off in traffic is terrified they'll be fired for being late. Or what if that angry Karen making a scene at Target is really tired and in desperate need of a nap? We gain empathy, compassion, and ultimately offer the highest forms of kindness when we look past the superficial. We all suffer from things like grief, love, loss, some of us more than others, and we all carry these burdens as best we can with what's available to us at the time. So what were the results? Well, for question 1, roughly 2/3 of respondents believe everyone's doing the best they can most of the time. So that was 2/3, about 65% of respondents. For number 2, the same percentage believe it's never a good idea to assume anything. And that was 14 votes to 6. And for number 3, well, 90% of you overwhelmingly disagree with the statement that assuming the best in everyone is naive, which is good. I was a little worried. What does all this mean? My interpretation is that ultimately we want to assume everyone's doing their best most of the time. I genuinely believe that all those little decisions can serve a higher purpose if we simply go ahead and assume the best in you and me. I wanted to end today's episode with a few thank yous. First, thank you for being your best today and letting me be mine. Thanks again for agreeing to tell 3 friends about this podcast. And as always, thank you for being kind. Pineapple with care.